That's a good one. Oh, yes, it is. It would stand for a salute.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Pollock-Ruth,
Present.
Commissioner Circo,
Present.
Commissioner Sotile,
Present.
and Commissioner Edison.
Present.
Let the record show that Commissioner Moroz is absent today.
Okay. Welcome to the El Cajon Planning Commission meeting. This meeting is being live streamed on the City of El Cajon website. Appeals of final decisions of the Planning Commission made this evening must be filed in writing with the City Clerk before 5 p.m. Monday, October 2nd, 2023, and must include a payment of a filing fee. If you wish to speak on either a non-agenda item or an agenda item tonight, please fill out a request to speak card located by the agenda and turn it into the secretary, who will call you up to speak when the agenda item comes up for public comment. We ask that you give us your name, the spelling of your last name. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. The display on the podium, as well as the other monitors in the chambers, will show a time counting down. At 30 seconds, the podium clock readout will turn red, signifying that you have 30 seconds until the end of your time. Applicants of individuals representing groups of people may be allowed for more time if appropriate. All public hearing comments should be addressed to me as the chair of the commission and not to individual commissioners or to staff members. Please turn off all electronic devices if you have not already done so. Pursuant to the City Council Resolution 11114-79, a commissioner who has received evidence related to a matter before the Planning Commission other than an unescorted view to the subject property is required to disclose such information at the hearing. Public comment. At this time, we'll take comments from any member of the public on any items of business within the jurisdiction of the commission that is not on the agenda. Under state law, no action can be taken on this item brought forward under public comment, except to refer to staff for administration or place it on future agenda. So anyone who wishes to make a comment, come forward? I don't think so. I think the two of you are good. Consent calendar. A motion will cover all items on the consent calendar. Does the commission wish to pull a consent calendar item for discussion? No. Okay. Staff?
No changes from staff.
The first hearing today is...
Make a motion.
We should make it motion. Go ahead, make a motion.
I move to accept the minutes as recorded.
Second?
Second.
Motion by Circo, seconded by Edison. Can we vote?
Motion carried 4-0 with Moroz absent.
Perfect. Okay. So the first item, who's staff going to go over that? Is it the dish one? Okay. So the first agenda item is the Dish Wireless Communication Facility.
Thank you, Honorable Commissioners. My name is Sable Beltran, and I'm a junior planner with the Community Development Department. The item before you is a request for a conditional use permit for a wireless facility at 180 Ballantyne Street as submitted by Plancom Inc. on behalf of Dish Wireless. The site is located on the west side of Ballantyne Street between East Park Avenue and Main Street, with the boundary for the site shown in yellow. The adjacent uses include the courthouse and associated parking to the north and west, and apartments and offices to the south and east. The site is approximately 1 acre in size and includes a 6-story senior apartment complex and 51 covered parking spaces. The general plan land use designation at 180 Ballantyne Street is high-density residential. The site has a corresponding zone of RMHR. The site was developed in 1979 with an 88-unit apartment complex for low-income seniors. In 1998, the adjacent parcel to the south was added to the project for additional parking. The pertinent planning permits are listed on the slide for reference. The project proposes establishing an architecturally integrated wireless facility consisting of 3 panel antennas, supporting equipment, and screening. The antennas will be facade mounted and stuccoed and painted to match the existing building. The supporting equipment is roof mounted and therefore will not eliminate any required parking for the existing apartments. Here is the west elevation, which demonstrates the panel antennas will match the existing building texture and color. This is also demonstrated here on the east elevation and here on the north elevation. For the record, staff would like to note that the plans attached to the agenda have been superseded. The correct plans have been provided at the dais for review and reflect the design shown in the photo simulations on the preceding slides. In order to approve the requested conditional use permit, the Planning Commission will need to make the findings shown here. As described in the presentation, staff believes that the Planning Commission can make the required findings to approve the request. In accordance with the California Environmental Quality Act, or CEQA, staff determined that the project is categorically exempt according to Section 15303, which includes an exemption for new accessory appurtenant structures, including new small equipment and facilities of less than 2,500 square feet. Staff therefore recommend that Planning Commission adopt the resolutions to approve the CEQA exemption and conditional use permit number 2023-0006, subject to conditions. This concludes staff's report, and we're available to answer any questions.
Okay. Great, thank you. Have any questions?
I'm just curious why this one came to us. We haven't seen any of these cell tower type CUPs in a while. They've been administrative. So what makes this one different?
So this one's unique just because it's located in a residential zone. So the residential zoning still requires a conditional use permit. The majority of facilities, just through siting and the streamlined approval process, just tend to be located in office or commercial zones. But in this instance, obviously the height of the existing building and its proximity to downtown made it an attractive location. And we were able to expedite the processing of this. So yes, so that's the reason why.
Okay, thank you.
Just 2 quick questions. One, I know the correspondence was sent out to the residents. Did anybody, I don't see anyone here, but did anybody put in any concerns written?
No comments were received.
Okay. And then the only other question or concern that I have is with this project, obviously there's going to be cranes. Is there going to be, how long is it going to take to get them up there? And is there going to be any traffic pattern impacts? Because we've seen in some other projects that it took a little bit longer and there was a more significant issue with traffic patterns. I know that area, it's kind of tight if we're going to be putting cranes up there. You know how long it's going to take?
The applicant has filed a speaker slip, and I think the applicant could address kind of those construction-related impacts. I would anticipate sufficient space on W.D. Hall Drive as it extends from Ballantyne towards the courthouse there, which is a somewhat less frequented road, would provide sufficient space for staging and for construction. Sometimes they'll use cranes, and other times they will use scaffolding. Staff recently observed over the past month at the county courthouse building the use of scaffolding to replace the antennas on their building as well.
Perfect. Thank you.
Perfect. And you said we have speaker cards on this item?
We do. If you'd like to open the public hearing, we can
Perfect.
ask.
So if we have no other questions, we'll open public hearing on this item. Okay. So we need to vote on that.
And we do have one speaker card. Can we have Kerrigan Deal come to this podium?
To answer any questions that any of you might have.
So mine was more specific to traffic impact. I've seen, them put up air conditioning systems in the past. It went up rather quickly, but I was just wondering, how the time frame, given that there could be traffic impacts, how are you going to get them up there?
Yeah.
How
Unlike
long, I'm sorry, and how long?
Yeah. Obviously here on kind of the land use types of issues, but Dish is sort of a unique install, and they have a consolidated, it's a very small installation as opposed to maybe some of your more traditional sites that you're seeing large multi-cabinet and things like that. So I imagine if there is a crane pick, I don't know that there is. I agree with Mr. Alvey that in this particular installation, the antenna locations are likely to be scaffolded as opposed to crane. And then for the equipment enclosure, it's one cabinet, so it's probably, if there is, and again, like I said, I don't know that there is, it is probably one pick over one day. So I can't imagine an extensive, prolonged traffic control plan. And given the consolidated nature of the site, these things are I think it's about a 3 or 4 week, 0 to hero build out.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
You bet.
No other speaker
No
cards
other
for this
speakers?
agenda
Well,
item.
I don't see anybody. So great. So anybody want to make a motion on this?
I'll move to close the public hearing.
I second it.
And then
Please vote.
you vote?
And motion carried 4-0 with Morose absent.
Well, I think it's a good project. It's going to be sitting on top of the building, and I don't think anyone is going to see it unless
No.
you're flying an airplane or have a drone up there. And it looks like that it does meet the aesthetics of the environment on top of the building. So I don't see any problem with it whatsoever.
Yeah.
And also will help the
Service.
communication service for the city of El Cajon.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I've seen a Dish branded tower before.
No.
But cool.
Something new.
More options. All right. Well, if we're okay with it, I'd like to make a motion to adopt the next resolutions in order, approving CUP number 2023-0006, subject to conditions.
I'll second that.
And Chair, sorry if I may, I think we also had the separate CEQA resolution, just to clarify that the CEQA resolution is included as well, please.
Okay. Yes.
Thank you.
Including both resolutions.
Yes. And I'll second both resolutions. So motion made by, what?
Motion made by Commissioner Circo.
Commissioner Circo and seconded by Commissioner Pollock-Rudin. Can we vote?
Motion carried 4-0 with Morose absent.
Right.
Great. And on to the next one regarding El Cajon Inn Suites. Do you have an update on that?
Yes, thank you, Chair. So this is just a review of a conditional use permit for a lodging establishment at 1368 East Main Street. That's branded as El Cajon Inn Suites. So the site is located on the north side of East Main Street between Walter Way and East Madison Avenue. The site is a little more than 3/4 of an acre in size, and it is approved with a 37-unit motel and a caretaker unit. The development was originally approved with a site development plan, and a variance was approved to allow a 5-foot setback along the northerly property line. The adjacent uses include residential to the west, a board and care facility to the north, and then retail commercial to the south and to the east. So this item was initiated by the Planning Commission at the May 16th, 2023 Planning Commission meeting. It was at that meeting that the Planning Commission revoked the lodging establishment's deemed approved status and then approved conditional use permit number 2023-003, subject to conditions, and then directed staff to schedule a review of the CUP. So the conditions of approval are shown here on this slide. Since May 16th, the applicant has completed all the required conditions of approval. Staff did conduct a site visit on July 5th and did observe the installation of landscaping, fencing, lighting, security systems, and then general site maintenance that had been completed. Following the inspection, staff did conduct meetings with the applicant and the applicant's representative and did receive a digital site plan, signed affidavits acknowledging the deemed approved lodging ordinance, monthly reports related to their participation in emergency housing placement programs, as well as completion certificates for human trafficking and sexual harassment training. So they completed all the conditions of approval as were directed by the Planning Commission. Additionally, the Planning Commission asked that staff take a look at calls for service over the intervening period. So we analyzed a 90-day period between May 16th and August 14th. So the period immediately after the approval of the conditional use permit, which presumably would include the implementation of their operations and management plan. There was only 3 calls for service that were related to nuisance activities. So again, we annualized that number. So if you take that out, 3 over a 3-month period would equate to 12 calls for service over a 1-year period. That would equal 0.32 calls for service per room per year. So that is obviously under the 1 call per service per room per year that's stipulated in their conditional use permit approval. So this is just an information item. It's not a public hearing, and staff is just reporting to the Planning Commission as directed at the previous meeting. I did want to note that the applicant did provide an email update after the agenda was published. We printed that out and left that for your review at the dais. The applicant's representative is also present tonight and happy to answer any questions. And that concludes staff's presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's going to, on the calls for service, I'm not sure how specific we want to get. Were any of them in regards to minor youth, juveniles?
As I recall, none were related to youth-related activities. In conjunction with the review of calls, I also spoke with Captain Wansweiler, who was present at the previous meeting. He indicated that none of the calls for service warranted further discussion by the Planning Commission. So that was the extent of staff's review of those calls.
Okay. Thank you.
Way better than the previous calls for service.
Agreed.
Yeah. I don't have any questions.
No.
The review served its purpose. We see a lot of improvement, and that's what we were looking for.
Yeah.
Great. I do believe that the applicant's representative did file a speaker slip.
Okay. So should we open public hearing so she can
There's
speak?
no public hearing,
Because
but we can invite.
we can invite her to come on up and
Yeah.
because it was just not an action plan.
Thank you, Commissioners. My name is Sally Schiffman, SCHIFMAN. I'm here representing the property owner, and yes, as Mr. Alvey explained, we have done quite a bit over the last 9 months to bring this site into compliance and really have put a lot. The property owners put somewhere around $50,000 to $60,000 into the property, so his commitment is there. And, you know, we've had some changes to management. He, as of September 1st, the owner has actually taken over operations. And so this will be now number 10 of 9 other hotels that he fully manages and owns, as well as 10 additional hotels that he has partnership in. So he knows how to handle hotels, and I think that we'll continue to see that this property improves with each passing day. So thank you. If you have any additional questions, I can answer those.
Done a great job.
Thank
you
you
very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for your hard work. So, since there's nothing to vote on in this matter,
No
No,
action.
no action, just kind of an update on their progress. So do you have any staff, have any updates?
For staff communications on agenda item 4, there's no communications from staff this evening.
Okay.
I have a question for staff. Let's see if I can get my orientation correct. On the corner of Main and Magnolia, I've been watching where the old Salvation Army site was, and it looks like the front is going up, and they've got a wall that seems to be leaning against the wall of the next door business. Are they rebuilding the look of the Salvation Army front that we looked through and approved? Because once upon a time, they were doing a shell and fill, but then it wasn't up to earthquake standards. So I don't know if I've ever seen an image of what they're planning on putting there, but it would be really neat if they were still incorporating that J.C. Penney look.
It is substantially the same design. So the elevations, I believe, are actually on a banner that's applied to the fence there. If you
I'll
take a
have
look
to
at
stop
it.
by.
So my understanding, it's substantially similar. There's been some delays during construction as the engineer's been refining some of their beams, the steel beams that they've been implementing, and some of those were on delay for delivery. So they were just back out there in the last couple of weeks putting in those new steel beams.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. No other?
Are the roundabouts in El Cajon Boulevard complete?
The roundabouts remain under construction. We don't have a representative from the Public Works Department today who is overseeing that project, but I anticipate at a future meeting we can be prepared to give you some more information on that.
Anyone make a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
And seconded.
Perfect. Made by Edison, seconded by Zirko. And we're done.
Votes?
Oh, we have to vote on leaving.
We do. Otherwise, they make us sit here.
Yeah, we can all just stare at each other for a while.
Motion
Think how
carried
long hard about
4-0
that.
with Moreau's absent.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming.